My wife slid a typed list across the mediation table like she was ordering catering: the house, the accounts, the cars. Then she added one last sentence, flat as a spreadsheet line item: I don't want custody, I don't want the child. The room went so still the mediator's pen stopped moving. I'm Mason, 37, and until that moment I thought I understood my marriage the way you think you understand the streets you drive every day: familiar, predictable, safe. We lived in Worthington, just north of Columbus, Ohio. We'd been married 9 years. Our daughter, Lily, was 6, gap-toothed smile, knees always bruised, obsessed with unicorn stickers and the idea that every bad day can be fixed with chocolate milk. I work as a project manager for a regional logistics company near the airport. My wife, Claire, is an in-house counsel for a medical device firm in Westerville. Her job came with better pay, better benefits, and a calendar that never stopped demanding more. For most of our marriage, we looked normal from the outside: mortgage, minivan, school fundraisers, pictures at COSI, a Christmas card with matching sweaters that we laughed about even while we wore them. We weren't flashy, we were comfortable. Or maybe I was comfortable. Claire was efficient. That's the word I keep coming back to. She approached life like a contract: define the terms, reduce the risk, optimize the outcome. When Lily was born, Claire bounced back fast, physically, professionally. People admired it. Her coworkers called her a machine, like it was a compliment. She went back to work after 10 weeks, and we hired a nanny 2 days a week until Lily started preschool. Claire never missed a deadline, she never missed a call, and slowly, without anyone saying it out loud, she started missing us. The drift didn't start with a dramatic fight. It started with absences that wore a clean disguise. In spring of 2025, Claire began traveling more: Chicago, Minneapolis, Dallas. She said it was for acquisitions, compliance reviews, high-stakes stuff. She'd leave on a Tuesday morning with her laptop bag and a blazer draped over her arm, kiss Lily on the forehead and say, "Be good for Dad." Then she'd look at me like I was the babysitter, not the other half of our family. At first, I told myself it was temporary. Corporate busy seasons happen, promotions happen. I covered the gaps the way you cover a friend's shift, because you assume they'll cover yours later. I did school drop-off at Colonial Hills Elementary. I learned which teacher preferred emails and which one preferred phone calls. I kept a running list on my phone of Lily's non-negotiables: for bedtime: purple toothbrush, 2 books, door cracked exactly 3 inches, nightlight shaped like a moon. Claire would come home after Lily was asleep, heels in her hand so she wouldn't wake anyone, and slide into our bed smelling like hotel soap and conference room coffee. She'd scroll her phone in the dark with the brightness turned low, thumb moving like a metronome. Sometimes I tried to talk. "How was Chicago?" "Fine. You seem tired." "I'm managing." Lily asked if you can come to her art show next Friday. "I'll see what I can do." Claire started correcting me in that calm, surgical way that makes you feel childish, even when you're being reasonable. "Don't feed her that before bed. She's had a long day." That's not a reason to ignore routine. Or she'd laugh, one short sound with no warmth, when I'd talk about work. "You're stressed about a shipment schedule. That's adorable." I remember standing in our kitchen on June 12, 2025, stirring pasta while Lily colored at the table. Claire walked in, glanced at the mess, and said, "I can't live like this." Not because the house was dirty, because life was loud, unpredictable, sticky-fingered, because it belonged to a child. That summer, the contempt got more direct. She'd talk about my time and my career and my trajectory as if we weren't supposed to be a unit. One night in July, after she came home from a 3-day trip, Lily ran to the door yelling, "Mommy." Claire smiled like someone smiling for a photo, hugged her for exactly 2 seconds, then looked at me and said, "I need to shower. I've been touched all day." I said she missed you. Claire replied, "I'm aware," and walked upstairs. That's how it went, not cruelty exactly, more like she was slowly unhooking herself from us. On August 28, 2025, Claire asked for a divorce. It happened on a Thursday evening, and she was careful about it, almost considerate. Lily was at my sister's house for a sleepover. Claire cooked salmon like it was any other night. We ate at the table with the overhead light too bright and the TV off, like we were trying to prove to the universe we were functional. After we cleared the plates, Claire sat across from me with her hands folded and said, "I want to separate." I didn't move. I didn't give her the satisfaction of a reaction that would make her feel powerful or guilty. I simply said, all right, put it in writing. Her jaw tightened, like she didn't love that I didn't beg. I've already spoken to someone, she said. I have counsel. There it was, she'd done the paperwork before she did the conversation. She de-prepared an exit strategy the way she prepared a quarterly report. I asked, how long have you been planning this? Claire looked down at her hands. A while. I didn't ask about another man. Not yet. I wasn't trying to win an argument. I was trying to protect a 6-year-old who didn't know her world was about to split in half. Claire's first proposal came 2 days later, on Saturday, August 30. She emailed it to me at 7:14 a.m. like it was a normal work deliverable, a spreadsheet titled Dissolution Terms Draft. House, she keeps it. Cars, she keeps both for continuity. Accounts, she keeps the joint savings. Retirement, we each keep our own. Custody, shared, flexible, TBD. I stared at it and felt something in me go very quiet, the way a room goes quiet right before a storm hits. I didn't respond to her directly. I hired a lawyer. Her name was Janine Parker, and she practiced family law in downtown Columbus near the courthouse. I met her on September 3, 2025. I brought a folder with our mortgage statement, bank statements, car titles, and Lily's school calendar. Janine appreciated that. She didn't smile much, but she nodded in a way that felt like respect. Tell me what you want, she said. I said, I want Lily stable. I want her safe. I want her to stop wondering why her mom disappears. Janine leaned back, and custody. I want what's best for Lily, I repeated, because that was the only honest answer. Janine's eyes held mine. That's a good value, but court needs specifics. So I got specific. I started documenting legally, cleanly. No spying, no tricks, just reality written down. I made a parenting log, every drop-off, every pickup, homework time, doctor visits, meals, nightmares, when Lily asked for her mom, when Claire called, when she didn't. I downloaded statements for our joint checking, joint savings, and our mortgage. I listed monthly expenses, $2,180 mortgage, $430 utilities, $160 internet and phones, $620 groceries, $310 after-school care. I pulled the car loan info. The 2021 Honda Pilot had 48,200 miles and a payment of $512. Claire's 2018 BMW 330i had 62,900 miles and was paid off but expensive to insure. I also started doing something I should have done years earlier. I stopped assuming Claire would show up. When Lily's school sent home a flyer for a family reading night on September 19, I didn't ask Claire if she could come. I just went with Lily. We sat on the gym floor, and Lily leaned into my shoulder while I read Charlotte's Web in my best dramatic voice. She laughed so hard she snorted, and that sound was worth everything. Claire didn't call that night. She texted at 11:30 p.m. from what I assumed was another hotel. Hope it went well. I replied, noted. By mid-September, Claire moved into a furnished apartment near Easton to reduce tension. That was her phrase. She didn't say she missed Lily. She said she needed space. Lily asked why Mommy wasn't sleeping at home. I told her the truth, adjusted for age. Mommy and Daddy are having grown-up problems. We're working it out. You are loved. You are safe. She looked at me and said, did I do something bad? No, I said immediately. This is not because of you, never because of you. The mediation was scheduled for October 21, 2025, at a private mediation office in Grandview Heights. Claire wanted it private, professional, contained. Of course she did. The fee was $300 an hour for the mediator, split between us, plus our attorney's time. By the time we sat down, we'd both already spent money we didn't want to spend on a process we didn't want to be in. The conference room was cold in that corporate way, gray carpet, fake plant in the corner, a pitcher of water sweating onto the table. Claire arrived in a cream-colored blouse and a tailored jacket. She looked like she could walk straight into a board meeting and take over the room. She didn't look at me when she sat down. The mediator, a man named Todd, did the opening speech about finding mutually acceptable terms and keeping the child's best interests at the center. Todd's tone suggested he'd said it 1,000 times and only half believed it. Claire slid her printed list across the table. This version was more polished than the email. She debuilt it like a deal memo. House, Claire retains the marital residence. Cars, Claire retains both vehicles. Savings, Claire retains joint savings. 401k, each retains their own. Custody, 50-50, flexible. Support, no spousal support. Janine read it without expression, then set it down gently like it was something dirty. Todd asked Claire to explain. Claire spoke calmly. I've carried the financial growth for this family. My income trajectory is higher. I need the house to maintain stability. I need both vehicles because of travel flexibility. Mason can rent or buy something later. It wasn't just cold. It was dismissive, like I was a temporary employee in her life. Janine asked, and the child's schedule. Claire waved a hand slightly. We can work it out. I'm not trying to keep Lily from him. I'm just being practical. I looked at Claire and said, okay, then let's be precise. Claire's eyes narrowed just a fraction. Todd suggested we do caucuses, separate rooms to reduce tension. Claire agreed immediately. She preferred control. Separate rooms gave her the illusion she could manage the narrative. In my room, Janine said, she's asking for everything that matters and offering flexibility where it costs her nothing. I said, I'm not here to argue. Good, Janine replied, then we're here to be strategic. We countered, not with anger, with reality. House, I keep it, refinance within 12 months. Cars, I keep the Honda Pilot, she keeps the BMW. Savings, split evenly. Retirement, division of marital portion per Ohio law. Custody, I ask for primary physical custody with a standard schedule for Claire, every other weekend, one dinner midweek, subject to her actual availability. Child support, guideline support based on income. Todd carried it to Claire. When Todd came back, his face had that tired look mediators get when someone says the quiet part out loud. Claire wants to address custody directly, he said. He led us back into the same room. Claire sat perfectly straight, hands folded, like she was about to deliver a closing argument. She didn't ease into it. I don't want shared custody, she said. Todd blinked. Janine's pen paused. Claire continued, voice steady. I don't want the schedule. I don't want the disruption. I don't want to coordinate school pickups and sick days and holidays. I waited. Something told me that wasn't the end. Then she said it, the sentence that turned the air into ice. I don't want the child. Not I don't think I can handle it, not I'm struggling, not I need time. Just I don't want the child. For a second nobody moved. Todd's mouth opened slightly, then closed. Janine's eyes went hard. Even Claire's lawyer, an expensive-looking man in a navy suit, stared at her like he'd just realized he didn't fully know his client. Claire looked at me as if she expected me to explode, as if she needed me to explode to justify her choice. I didn't give her that. I took a slow breath and said, that simplifies things. Claire's chin lifted, defensive. Don't make this dramatic. I'm not, I said. We'll follow the paperwork. Janine leaned forward. To be clear, Claire, you're saying you're willing to relinquish custody voluntarily. Claire's eyes flicked to her lawyer. He looked like he wanted to interrupt, but Claire spoke first. Yes, she said, sole custody for Mason, physical and legal. I don't want decision-making. I don't want school meetings. I don't want to be contacted for every little thing. Todd cleared his throat. Claire, I need to ask, this is a significant statement. Are you sure? Claire's voice sharpened. Yes. I kept my hands flat on the table. I kept my voice even. If that's your decision, I'll plan accordingly, I said. Claire exhaled, like she'd been waiting for me to resist, and now felt relieved. I wasn't going to force her back into a role she didn't want. Janine's tone stayed controlled, but there was steel underneath it. Then our settlement changes. Claire frowned. How? Janine didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. Custody is not a bargaining chip, Janine said. But if Claire is choosing to walk away from parenting time and decision-making, Mason will carry the full logistical and financial burden of raising Lily. That affects the property division and support, and the court will require a plan. Claire's lawyer finally spoke, careful. Child support will be calculated by statute. Correct, Janine said, and we're also addressing stability. Mason will need the house to keep Lily in her school district. He will need the reliable family vehicle. He will need liquidity to cover childcare and health expenses without the assumption of shared time. Claire's eyes flashed. So now you're trying to punish me. I looked directly at her. I won't fight you on what you're giving up, I said, but I am fighting for what Lily needs. Todd held up his hands. Let's slow down. We need a workable agreement that can be approved. Janine slid a revised term sheet forward, writing as she spoke. Mason keeps the house, she said. He refinances within 12 months or sells if he can't. Claire signs a quitclaim deed upon execution with protections if refinance fails. Claire opened her mouth. Janine continued. Mason keeps the Honda Pilot. Claire keeps the BMW. Joint savings. Mason receives 70% to cover transition costs, moving costs, and childcare given sole custody. Claire receives 30%. Claire's lawyer's eyebrows climbed. Janine wasn't done. Retirement accounts. Each keeps their own, but Claire transfers a portion of the marital component to Mason via QDRO to offset the unequal savings split. Todd said that's substantial. Janine replied, so is sole custody. Claire stared at the table. Her fingers tapped once, twice, then stopped. And visitation? Todd asked. Janine looked at me, and I answered. Lily deserves consistency, I said. If Claire wants contact, it should start slowly and safely. Supervised visits at a family visitation center until Lily is comfortable. Then we revisit. Claire's face hardened. Supervised, I'm not dangerous. Janine said, this is about the child's emotional safety, after a voluntary relinquishment statement. I added quietly, let's do this the clean way. Claire's lawyer leaned toward her, voice low. I couldn't hear the words, but I saw his expression, warning, reality, consequences. Claire sat back. She looked tired for the first time all day. Fine, she said. I'll agree. I want it done. Todd asked Claire, do you understand what you're agreeing to? Sole legal and physical custody to Mason, limited supervised visitation at his discretion subject to court approval, guideline child support, and the property terms as outlined. Claire answered, understood. The irony of that word almost made me laugh, but nothing about this felt funny. We spent the next 2 hours hammering out details, holiday language, health insurance, who claims Lily on taxes, communication boundaries, email only, no late-night calls, no surprise visits. Claire wanted one thing very badly, a clause that limited her obligation to attend school events or parent-teacher meetings. Janine wrote it the way the court would tolerate. Mason has sole decision-making authority. Claire may request information in writing. When it was time to sign the mediated memorandum, Claire's lawyer hesitated, not because he didn't want to finalize, because he understood how this would look in front of a judge. Todd watched Claire carefully, last chance to reconsider any element. Claire's eyes flicked toward me, and for a split second I saw something human, fear, maybe, or shame. Then it flattened again. Then we're clear, she said. I signed, Janine signed, Claire signed. Her lawyer signed last, slowly, like he was signing something he never expected to put his name on. When we stood up, Claire didn't say goodbye. She picked up her purse and walked out like she'd just closed a deal. I sat back down after everyone left and stared at the empty chair where she'd been. Janine touched my arm once. You did what you needed to do. I didn't feel victorious. I felt like someone had handed me a fragile glass and told me I had to carry it across a highway without dropping it. Update 1, the move out and the talk with Lily. Claire officially moved out on November 2, 2025. She didn't move far. She took a one-bedroom condo rental near Easton with a lease term of 12 months. Her furniture was minimal. Her choices were minimal, like she was building a life where nothing could attach to her. The hardest part wasn't the paperwork. It wasn't even watching the house become mine on paper while still feeling like it belonged to the family we used to be. The hardest part was telling Lily what was happening in a way that didn't shatter her. On the Sunday before Claire moved, Lily and I made pancakes. She stood on a chair at the counter, dumping chocolate chips like she was paying taxes in candy. She said, Mommy likes the little ones, not the big ones. I swallowed and said, yeah, you remembered. After breakfast, I took her to Highbanks Metro Park. We walked the easy trail by the trees that still had a few stubborn leaves hanging on. Lily kicked through them, making crunchy explosions with her sneakers. When we got to a bench, I sat down and patted the space next to me. Bug, I said, my nickname for her since she was tiny. We need to talk about something. Her eyes went wide. Am I in trouble? No, I said immediately, not even close. I explained that Mommy and Daddy were going to live in different homes, that Lily would live with me most of the time, that Mommy would still care about her, because I couldn't bring myself to say the other truth. Lily's face crumpled like paper. Did Mommy stop loving me? She whispered. I felt that question in my chest like a weight. I chose my words carefully. Mommy has limits, I said, and those limits are about her, not about you. You are easy to love. You are not the problem. She stared at the trail. Then she said, Can I still bring my unicorn blanket to your house? Our house, I corrected gently, and yes, always. That night, Lily insisted on sleeping in my bed. I let her. We built a pillow wall like a fortress. She fell asleep holding my shirt like she was afraid I'd disappear too. Update 2, the real reason. Without the drama, I didn't go looking for proof of an affair. I didn't have the energy for obsession. I had lunches to pack and library books to return, and a child who suddenly needed to know where I was every 5 minutes. The truth came the way most truths do, through boring, legal channels. In late November, Janine asked for updated financial disclosures. We exchanged pay stubs, benefits info, the usual. Claire's packet included a revised health insurance election. She switched to a new plan and listed an emergency contact that wasn't me. It was a man named Daniel Mercer. I didn't recognize the name, but I recognized the pattern. You don't change emergency contacts unless you're changing your life. Janine didn't react like it was scandal. She said, This may explain motivation. It may also matter if she petitions later. I didn't ask her to investigate. No stalking, no social media deep dives, no dirty tactics. But in December, the confirmation I didn't request walked right into my line of sight. On December 14, 2025, I took Lily to Easton for holiday shopping. She wanted to pick a gift for her teacher, and I was trying to keep life normal. We were walking past the coffee shop near Nordstrom when I saw Claire through the window. She was sitting across from a man in a charcoal coat. Her posture was different, lighter almost. She laughed, leaning in. He reached across the table and touched her hand, not like a colleague, like someone who believed he belonged there. Lily didn't see them. She was staring at a display of peppermint bark. I didn't go in, I did confront. I didn't need a scene, I needed distance. That night after Lily was asleep, I emailed Claire one sentence. For future communication, please use email only, as agreed. She replied 10 minutes later, noted. And that was it, no confession, no apology, just another checked box. Update 3, the in-laws in the moment they chose Lily. Claire's parents, Ron and Patris, lived in Upper Arlington. They'd always been polite to me in that careful, country club-adjacent way, pleasant, but never fully warm. Claire was their pride, honors, law school, corporate track. Lily was their grandchild, cute, manageable in 2-hour doses. After the mediation, I assumed they'd follow Claire's lead. I assumed they'd shrink away. I was wrong. On Thanksgiving morning, Ron called me. His voice sounded older than I remembered. Mason, he said, are you home? Yes. Can we come by? I hesitated. Lily's here. That's why we're calling, he said. They arrived with pies and a small stuffed reindeer for Lily. Patris hugged Lily so tightly Lily squeaked. Ron stood in my living room and looked around like he was seeing the house differently, less like his daughter's asset, more like his granddaughter's home. When Lily ran off to show Patris her sticker book, Ron turned to me and said, Claire told us some version. I waited. He swallowed. She said she didn't want to be a mother anymore. There was pain in his eyes, real and unpolished. I said, I hear you. Patris came back into the room, eyes red. We're not here to interrogate you, she said. We're here to tell you Lily will not pay for Claire's choices. They started coming every other Sunday after that, not to spy, not to argue, to be grandparents. They went to Lily's winter concert. They sat in the second row and clapped so loudly Lily beamed. Ron brought his phone tripod like a dork and recorded the whole thing. Claire didn't show. After the concert, Patris hugged Lily and said, We're proud of you, sweetheart. Lily asked, "Is mommy proud?" Patris didn't lie, she didn't poison. She chose the truth Lily could hold. "I'm proud enough for both of us," she said. Something shifted after that. Claire wasn't just leaving me. She was leaving the people who would have covered for her, softened her edges, made excuses. When you walk away from your child, you don't just lose a schedule. You lose the stories people tell about you. Update 4, the public run-in and the boundary. On February 8, 2026, I took Lily to a birthday party at a trampoline place off Sawmill Road. It was loud, chaotic, and exactly the kind of normal I was trying to rebuild. Lily was halfway through a slice of pizza when she froze. I followed her eyes and saw Claire standing near the entrance. She looked like she'd stepped out of an ad, hair done, makeup perfect, a sleek coat. She wasn't alone. Daniel, the man from the coffee shop, stood behind her holding a gift bag like he was trying to look harmless. Claire smiled and started walking toward us. Lily slid off her bench and moved behind me so fast she knocked my chair. Her small hands clutched the back of my shirt. That told me everything I needed to know. Claire stopped a few feet away, smile flickering. "Mason," she said, like we were colleagues bumping into each other at a conference. "Hi." I kept my voice level. "All right, put it in writing," I said, because this wasn't the place for spontaneous renegotiations. Claire's eyes narrowed. I just came to see her. Lily pressed harder into my back. I said, "Then we're clear. This isn't the environment for it. You can request a supervised visit through email." Daniel shifted uncomfortably. He looked at the kids bouncing in the background like he hadn't fully understood the kind of damage he'd walked into. Claire's face tightened. "You're making her afraid of me." I didn't raise my voice. I didn't insult her. I didn't say the cruel things I could have said. I said, "I'm following Lily's lead." Claire looked down at Lily. "Lily, sweetheart." Lily didn't peek out. She didn't answer. Claire's mouth opened, then closed. For the first time, her efficiency failed her. There's no clause you can draft that forces a child to feel safe. I stepped slightly to the side so Claire could see Lily's face if Lily chose to show it. Lily stayed hidden. Claire's cheeks flushed. "Fine," she said sharply, then quieter, "Email me." I replied, "We'll follow the paperwork." She turned and left. Daniel followed, the gift bag still in his hand, still unopened, still useless. After they were gone, Lily whispered, "Was that mommy?" I crouched down and looked at her. Yes. Her eyes filled. "Why did she come here?" I said, "Sometimes adults realize too late what they broke." Lily swallowed. "Do I have to go with her?" I answered truthfully, "No, you don't have to do anything that makes you feel unsafe." She nodded once, small and tired, then went back to her pizza like she was trying to be normal again. Update 5, she tried to modify custody, and what I allowed in May of 2026, Claire filed a motion to modify custody. Not to take Lily full-time, not even close. She wanted expanded parenting time, unsupervised visits, a standard every other weekend schedule. She framed it like growth, like progress. Her motion referenced improved stability, increased availability, and a desire to rebuild the mother-daughter relationship. What it didn't reference was her own statement in mediation. What it didn't reference was Lily's reaction at the trampoline place. What it didn't reference was the reality that you can't abandon a child and then request access like you're reserving a conference room. Janine handled it the way Janine handled everything, calm, direct, backed by receipts. We provided Lily's therapy attendance records, not details, just the fact of consistent support, school attendance, my parenting log, and documentation of Claire's minimal contact over the prior months. We didn't attack Claire's character. We showed the court a timeline. A guardian ad litem was appointed, standard in contested custody cases. She interviewed me, Claire, Lily's teacher, and Lily's therapist. She observed Lily with me and also observed Lily's reaction to the idea of seeing Claire. The guardian's report was careful but clear. Lily needed stability. Lily associated Claire with unpredictability. Lily was not ready for unsupervised time. At the hearing in Franklin County Domestic Relations Court on June 27, 2026, Claire sat in the courtroom looking composed, like she was waiting for a verdict she deserved. The judge asked her directly about her mediation statement. Claire's attorney tried to soften it. She was overwhelmed at the time. The judge's eyes didn't soften. Those words carry weight, she said. Children are not optional. Claire's jaw tightened, but she said nothing. The court denied expanded time for now and ordered a stepped plan. Supervised visits twice a month at an approved visitation center for 6 months, then a review, provided Lily was comfortable, and the supervisor reported positive interactions. After the hearing, Claire approached me in the hallway. Her voice was controlled, but there was frustration underneath. "You're enjoying this." I didn't react to the accusation. I didn't argue with her version of reality. I said, "I'm protecting Lily." Claire scoffed, "You're controlling the narrative." I replied, "That's not the goal, stability is." She stared at me for a long moment like she was trying to find the button that would make me collapse into emotion. When she didn't find it, she looked away. The supervised visits began in July. The first one lasted 40 minutes. Lily sat across from Claire at a small table with coloring pages. A supervisor sat nearby with a clipboard. Claire tried to talk like everything was normal. "What have you been learning in school?" Claire asked. Lily answered politely, quietly, like she was talking to a distant relative. When Claire reached across the table to touch Lily's hand, Lily pulled back. Claire's face tightened, and for a second she looked like she might cry. Then she swallowed it down, because swallowing feelings was her specialty. The visits didn't magically heal anything. They created a safe container where Lily could approach at her own pace. That was the only kind of winning I cared about. Update 6, 1 year later. What victory actually looks like. It's October 2026 now, 1 year after mediation, 1 year after the sentence that froze the room. Our house in Worthington looks the same from the street, but inside it's different. There are fewer sharp edges. I refinanced in August, right under the 12-month deadline. The mortgage payment went up a little because rates weren't kind, but I planned for it. I adjusted my budget, cut back on extras, kept the lights on and the pantry full. Lily is 7 now. She's taller. She reads chapter books on her own. She still sleeps with the unicorn blanket, but now it's more habit than fear. She has routines again that aren't built around waiting for someone to show up. We do Tuesday tacos. We do library Saturdays. We do bedtime talks where she tells me the best part and the hard part of her day. Sometimes the hard part is math. Sometimes it's a kid at school being mean. Sometimes it's, "I miss having a mom who wants me." When she says that, I don't scramble to defend Claire. I don't poison Lily against her either. I tell her the truth. You deserved better, and I'm here. Claire still sees Lily twice a month under supervision. Sometimes Lily talks more. Sometimes she doesn't. The supervisor reports appropriate behavior, inconsistent emotional connection, gradual improvement, corporate phrases for something deeply human. Claire pays child support on time, not because she's generous, because the system doesn't let you walk away clean. In a strange way, that's justice without revenge. The court doesn't care about your personal reinvention. It cares about the child you helped create. Ron and Patris are still in Lily's life. They've become steady in a way I didn't expect. They don't make excuses for Claire anymore. They don't trash her. They simply show up for Lily again and again until Lily stopped waiting for disappointment. Sometimes people ask me if I'm angry. Of course I'm angry, but anger isn't a plan. Anger doesn't pack lunches. Anger doesn't sit through spelling tests. Anger doesn't hold a kid through a nightmare and whisper, "You're safe, I've got you." The day after the custody order became final, Janine told me something I've carried ever since. "People think winning in divorce looks like humiliation," she said, "but real winning is protection." That's what I chose at that table in Grandview Heights. Not triumph, not revenge, protection. When Claire said she didn't want our child, I could have screamed, I could have begged, I could have tried to shame her into staying involved. Instead, I listened, I believed her, and I built a life around the reality of who was willing to show up. Lily doesn't need a mother who visits out of obligation or optics. She needs adults who keep promises. She needs mornings that feel safe. She needs a home where love isn't conditional on convenience. A year later, the house is quieter in some ways and louder in others, because Lily sings while she brushes her teeth now. She leaves sticky notes on my desk that say, "Have a good day, Dad," with crooked hearts. She believes again that people can be counted on. That's the settlement I fought for. Not the equity, not the mileage on the car, not the account balances. A child who can sleep without wondering if she's disposable. And if that's all I ever get out of this divorce, then I got the only thing that mattered.